care of family and friends with tickets and situating backstage. I mean,
it's always been special. We've always been extremely honored to be able to do this. It's a big deal, and this is the best festival in the world.
How we doing? How's everybody doing? Want to hear another song? And that's talk about the record that's on.
Which one is that on?
That's not on it.
It's on a record. It's the Rattlesby.
I thought it was a Rattlesby. So
okay.
I wanted to ask you guys about the recording process and versus the energy of your live shows. And so the live shows have always been really where it's been for you guys. Approaching the record side of things, has there been pressure on you guys to make records? I mean, it seems like you've excelled more in the live atmosphere as opposed to in the studio.
The only time we really felt real pressure was with CBS. I mean, and it wasn't so much in the recording process; it was in what we were going to record. When we did the second album, when we did the second album,
got written.
Yeah, when we did the second album, I mean, there was a time when Los Lobos had just had a big hit with La Bamba, so it was the cover thing. And so they were hot on us to do a cover song, which we had one, but they were like, you got to do this one. And of course, when it came out, the radio, nobody wanted to even hear it. But those kind of things, those kind of pressures you felt. But once we were out of CBS, we really didn't. I mean, we went how we want to.
Other people might have helped with financing or whatever. We basically, even with Jim Dickinson's involvement, and Jim Dickinson should get a round of applause, y'all. We still were left on our own devices, and people could suggest things, but we do what we wanted to do anyway.
With Jim Gaines, it was the same way. I mean,
Jim Gaines too. But when the epic Sony people, if you got a guy eating a ham sandwich telling you that he doesn't hear a single, and
he's 1,200 miles away. I mean, it's
So for those that don't know, the Radiators recorded 3 albums for the conglomerate CBS, Sony at the time, The Law of the Fish, Zigzagging Through Ghostland, and Total Evaporation, which kind of sums up their career in the record business, the titles of those songs.
well, those were our biggest sellers too. They had the big machine behind it, but the machine was a hell of a thing to have behind you, so to speak.
It really, but it allowed the band to develop areas of the country where we wouldn't have gotten into, and so when we weren't after the CBS years, that still worked for us, and so even though the actual being with CBS a lot of times was a big giant headache, it did in the long run provide us with a way to keep touring after we were finished, our involvement with.
It's kind of nice to have somebody saying, "Do you want this 200,000?" Yeah, all right.
We were real lucky because Michael Kaplan is really the reason we got signed with Epic, and he actually Sony didn't buy him out until after our first album.
Right.
And there was a lot of roots acts on that label that got all swept away in between our two albums. And we lucked out. We got to make 3 albums with them.
Well, they actually wanted a 4th one.
Yeah, they did.
We were kind of fed up with them.
We knew they were just going to sit on the
Michael
shelf.
Kaplan was our champion there. And, I mean, he did more than that. At the meeting where they have the A&R meetings about who they're going to sign in this quarter or however it is that works, he basically went up to the podium, literally stood on his head at the podium and said, "I'm going to stand on my head and stay here until you agree to sign the Radiators."
He was crazy back then. He was really crazy.
Yeah.
We got stories.
Who'd have thought that would work, right?
But that, like you said, Reggie, that was a nice fill in the rest of the country, so to speak, and it put you on a national stage and gave you the attention.
It basically legitimized us in the eyes of the industry. Yeah, I mean, but it legitimized us in the eyes of the industry.
What's a record store?
What's one of those?
They made sure that we were in all the record stores too, which was.
Remember record stores?
Remember record stores? Boy, I love record stores.
It's no concept.
Where have all the record stores gone?
You have a favorite record store?
Well, I like Louisiana Beach Factory.
That's good. The fetus up in Minneapolis. There's not a lot of
What's the one in the Colony Records in New Haven? Great record store.
The Waterloo
in Austin.
What is it in San Francisco? Amoeba
in San Francisco.
So you mentioned Minneapolis, and that was one of the cornerstones, or one of the fertile areas where there were a lot of fish heads.
Well, you should talk about the crew thing.
That's exactly where I'm going with that. So, is Mike Starnes here?
No, he's in a witness protection program.
So
he's here somewhere.
Talk about the crews that sprung up all around the country. You got the Fearless crew.
The Moms.
Which stands for Mystic Orphans and Misfits, by the way.
So most of the people here know these crews, but you mentioned them the other night at the Dream Palace, and for a lot of these folks that may not know that, but talk for a moment first about the crew of Cosmic Debris. And the Moms as well.
Well, Cosmic Debris was really, I think, the people at the Dream Palace.
Alan Langhoff.
And Moms kind of started with the people at Luigi's out by the lake. And then you had the Gator people with the Gator Ball that became 501 became Tipitina's. So there was a whole little, neighborhood enclaves or crews that sort of sprung up, kind of like a Pars and mushrooms, good mushrooms or something.
They just wanted a reason to have a party, really.
Yeah.
But the 501 people, which became Tipitina's, they did good stuff because they actually resurrected the career of people like Professor Longhair.
That's why they started. They had a place with Eddie Fest
He was a janitor, and they went and got him out of retirement. Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Patron saint of New Orleans music, by the way, y'all.
Kravitz and Steve August and the gals with the Gator people, and they really did a lot. We did a bunch of Rhapsodized and Radiators did a lot of Gator Balls backing up Earl and Jesse Hill and
Lee Dorsey, all those
Lee
guys.
Dorsey, Gene Knight, a bunch of Ernie Cato, lots of guys. Fest we sat in with us at the Tip's first anniversary.
Really?
Yeah.
Spent a week with Ernie Cato one afternoon.
you did with Fess?
It's on the tape.
No, but I remember at the end he said, I want to thank Eddie Volker and the Percolators.
Eddie Volker and the Percolators.
And he's the only guy that can get away with that.
I was playing cowbell maracas for the whole set.
So the Moms crew, you've been playing Moms out in
Well, the Rhapsodize have played Moms before the Radiators ever did.
Yeah. And that, your sister was involved in that crew? Is that? No?
She was king one year.
He's not kidding, folks.
No, not kidding. My sister Shay was king of moms. They offered a queen. She said,
That explains a lot about moms, y'all.
she said, no, I want to be king. I don't want to be queen.
So anyway, Moms started, it's always, we just played our very last Moms Ball. The Saturday before last Fat Tuesday at the Mardi Gras World across the river. And we played all them. So the Moms people were in New Orleans, and then Mike Starnes, who went to Tulane, went back to Minneapolis and started the crew of Dads, and we've been playing all their parties for 20-something years.
Since 82.
And then the Fearless crew in San Francisco with John Hart, and all these crews, you know,
The
Monkey crew in South Florida.
Great Lady crew, the County line. I mean, they sprinkle.
We're going to forget somebody, and we're sorry if we do,
But they're all over the country, and they're basically, I guess you'd say they're like the ultra hardcore fans. You know?
it was, you know, again, people that just wanted to have a good time, and more importantly, encouraged us to play whatever we felt like playing, whether we knew it or not, and mostly we didn't. But that was cool, because we would just, that's how we took, I don't call them cover songs, I just call them songs that somebody else wrote, because we certainly don't play them like cover songs. But we just try stuff on stage, and that's probably one of the coolest things about this band, is we just kind of go for it.
And it would inspire me to write, like, maybe every Moms Ball, I write at least one special song for the occasion. And we forgot the Snafu crew, and we did a bunch of those over the years. It was a graduating class from '91 at Tulane, and yeah, there's been a lot of things that we found out. It really, the cruise kind of gave us a shot in the arm after the Epic years, because we were sort of, as the Epic star kind of faded, we were still doing good on the road and stuff, but we needed some outside inspiration, and the crew gigs really inspired a lot of good music from us.
They were fun.
And I mean, economically, it worked out well for it, because I mean, it's expensive to go on the road. So we could go to an area and have a private crew gig one night, and then at the same club have the public gig. So we not only had way too much fun, it made more sense economically too. It really saved our butts a lot of times, and it was, the fun was.
Is there one? We have about 10 minutes left, so I would like to open it up to some questions in a moment or two. But is there any one gig that stands out in your mind, whether it was one of the crew gigs, any of the crew gigs in the history of the crew gigs?